Welcome to the Londo Guitar Show, the show that's all about guitars and the people that play them. And for this episode, we have a very special guest, Mr. Ken O'Malley. Hi, Ken.
Pleased to meet you, Jim.
Thanks
My
for
pleasure
coming
to be
in.
here. Thank you.
Great, great. Now, you're a special guest because you're a singer-performer as well as a guitarist. And you've brought with you a couple of more or less vintage instruments. And if you would, tell us about what you're holding right now.
Well, this is a guitar made in Ireland, where I come from. And it's Loudon. And it's made in the north of Ireland in the town of Portadown, actually, by George Loudon and his group. George started building guitars probably I think he started when he was a kid, but professionally building guitars in the 60s and 70s, and eventually he was bought out by a Japanese company, and he moved over to Japan, and that lasted several years, then moved back to the north of Ireland in Bangor, County Down, and as I say, in the north of Ireland, different from the Republic of Ireland where I come from. And to this day, they're making the most beautiful guitars, and some of the best players in the world, Pierre Ben-Suzanne, and of course Edge from U2, and Paul Brady, a great Irish ballad singer. They're all playing top-notch Loudons. This is actually a model number W23, and its serial number is 124. So I think it's probably built somewhere about 1984.
I was going to ask about what year. And
Yeah.
Did you buy it new or used?
No, I bought it probably about 12 or 13 years ago.
Okay.
It's been pretty hacked up right here by somebody strumming it like a crazy person. I wouldn't do that, but nonetheless, it's just a beautiful tone, you know.
Did you buy it here in the States?
I
or
bought it in
Ireland?
Santa Monica, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You don't get too many of these Loudons in the Los Angeles, Southern California area. They'd be more folk guitar players, Northern California, Oregon, Washington, some places back east, Vermont would be more interested in playing guitar like this. It's got a nice wide neck to it. And, you know,
Nice
I
tone.
love it. I
Very
mean, I have
pretty.
several guitars. I have a 2 Guild F50R jumbo, 6 strings. I have a Gibson Hummingbird. I've got some Japanese guitars. I have a Martin 0001 that I leave in Ireland, so that when I'm going over, as I said earlier,
Don't have to
on
worry
a tour,
about it being in the baggage compartment.
exactly.
or
I'm
anything.
going over on tour this weekend actually for 2 weeks, and my brother will hand deliver it to me, and so I just leave it there. It's handy to have over there.
This is one of the main ones you perform with, though,
Yeah.
the Loudon? Okay. Now, when you said the Hummingbird, that's associated in my mind with Bill Withers,
Yes.
singer-songwriter. He always liked the Hummingbird.
You know, it's a lovely guitar, but my problems with it is that I've tried a couple of different saddle pickups, and it just doesn't work. I can't get the 6 strings to deliver the same signal. And it's not the guitar's fault, because it's a nice guitar. It's a very strumming guitar. It was played a lot by the Beatles
Yeah.
in like Michelle,
Yeah.
that song. That was a Gibson Hummingbird, and a lot
You
of
can
those.
see that in the old footage
Yeah,
of the video, right?
yeah.
And the
But it's
Hummingbird,
a
because
very
it has-
tight sounding guitar, you know.
In the motif on the body, there is a
Oh
Hummingbird
yeah.
on there.
Oh yeah.
Now, have you done any modification on this, or has it
No,
just been
this
as
is
you got
it.
it?
It's got a split saddle here,
I was gonna ask about
which
that.
is
That's
unusual,
noticeable.
but that's just the way it came. I guess it's part to do with the tension on the coming from the strings. The strings come, just show it like here. The strings come directly in through the back of the bridge, so they're not coming from below. And you know, other than that, it's I'm not a real techie on guitar specifications, but it's got all kinds of particularly good Loudon bracing and all the rest of it. Just
Good workhorse.
And it's a cedar top, and I believe mahogany back and sides.
With binding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're running this on a board down here. You've got some pedals, some effects. What are we looking at?
Well, basically, this is really the first preamp that I've ever owned, and I've had it for years. In fact, I have 2 of them. I believe in buying 2 just in case one breaks, and that, believe me, that does happen.
Yes, you're right.
Many times I remember at shows stepping on these, you know, before I got the pedal board itself, I found myself stepping on the knobs, and
Yeah.
not a good thing, not a good thing. But it's an acoustic instrument processor. I don't know if they're available anymore. It's in Boss AD5, and it's got some reverb, which sometimes I use a little of. I don't really use the chorus. It's got a nice body and mic distance set up right here. Again, I've always left them pretty standard right about there. And so it kind of reflects on if you want a particular mic sound, if the mic was closer or further away from the guitar body, that kind of thing. Yeah. Again, I don't worry too much about that. It's got the usual treble, middle, and it's got a presence on it. And it's very nice. It's got a feedback buster built into it. And you can go stereo out, which is nice. Then I have a digital delay, which just, works for me sometimes, especially if I'm playing solo. Yeah. I like a little effect like that is nice.
It's a dry haul.
Yeah, and when I'm with the band playing, sometimes I've got the old-fashioned, you can't even see it anymore, MXR micro amp right here.
Those, yeah.
That's
single
great.
Single knob, single button.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Just gives me a little extra punch when they call on me for a solo. Then, of course, the chromatic tuner, which most guys have these days. And then I have the line selector. So if you notice here, my mandolin, which is a lovely old Gibson, it's an A2 actually.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, I have an A1, I have an A, an A2, and an A4. So I can, the same line coming out of the pedal board to the mixer, the line selector takes either the mandolin or the guitar.
Right.
You can actually play them both if you turn the knob to a certain selector here. And you have individual, the red is the mandolin, the green is the guitar. They are separate.
So you're doing a live performance, you're just setting one down and picking up, not pulling jacks and all that
exactly.
stuff. Right.
Right.
That's convenient.
Yeah, very.
Now, what is the amp that you have brought in? That you're
this is a Mark Bass 101 acoustic guitar and vocal amp. Probably one of the best things I've ever gotten as a professional performer. It is a one-man PA, and it's excellent quality. It's an Italian make, the Mark Bass, which they're much more commonly known for building bass amplifiers, stacks, and small units like this also. And this is just something to do along the same line. A friend of mine gave it to me, brand new, and it's got a really nice selection. Basically, again, your master volume, of course. Gains on both the guitar are separate, and the it's got a.
So you'll take that amp when you're doing your gigs,
solo
clubs,
gigs,
and if it's bigger hall, you can just mic it through the PA.
I can mic it, or I can run a line out of it into a PA.
Yeah, so it's compact, but
and I really like, and I'm using it today just so you guys can catch it. It's got a line out to the mixer in the studio here, and it just has a nice, warm tone to it.
Yes.
I mean, it's.
Yeah. Now going back to the mandolin for a second, let's talk about that for a minute. What year did you say that was?
It's a 1919 Gibson A2.
Real antique. Wow.
Yeah. It's almost 100 years old.
And how long have you owned it?
That one I've owned, it's the most recent one I purchased probably about 10 years ago. I actually bought it on eBay. Yeah, I mean, you're taking a chance. And I have the scratch plate at home, the pick guard. Other than that, it's all original.
When it came, it was still playable? You didn't have to do any repairs? It was working order and great?
They're the original pegs.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have an A model, which I bought from an old Jewish barber next to Molly Malone's when I first came to America 40 years ago. And then I was in Seattle performing probably about 15 years ago. And I went into a music store, a very folky music store, to buy what they call a tipper. It's a little stick that you play the Irish bower on, the drum, the Irish drum with. And I saw this Gibson A4 up on the wall. And for a $3 stick, I ended up spending $1,600 on the A4, which is a beautiful mandolin, and it really does sound great. Yeah. This probably plays to me a bit better. The frets are smaller. The A4, the frets are kind of big, almost like an electric guitar. And but either one of them, just fabulous instruments,
Does the
job. These are, as different from the F model Gibsons. They're much more the bluegrassy with the fancy scroll head.
Yes.
They're much more bluegrass, a lot more expensive, most of them. But the A model is this one here. And probably a lot of people don't know is that Gibson made mandolins before they made guitars. And back in the turn of the 20th century, there were many mandolin orchestras all over the world, let alone particularly here in the United States. So you have a mandolin, a mandola, like a viola, a mandocello, and a mando bass, which is like a mandolin this big.
So it's sort of like having a saxophone, an alto,
absolutely.
and baritone.
Yeah.
And all, of course.
And I think there's even still a mandolin orchestra that plays at Hollywood High School. You know, a bunch of the old Jewish players up there.
Now, when you have this electrified, did you purchase it already capable to be electric?
No. Let me just show it to you for a second here. I'll just put this down here. What's interesting is this mandolin, and I'll just flick it over here to the mandolin side. This is the pickup right here, underneath the bridge. Again, the original bridge.
It's resonating from the body.
This tape is the pickup. And here's your wire out here, and here's your 1/4 inch input. But what I always am amused about is, you know, you can put a little reverb on. You know,
Very bright sounding.
The guy who built this, long dead, had no idea what his mandolin.
Almost a century
Yeah,
old.
what his mandolin would sound like amplified.
Right.
Which
You would
is
never
kind
imagine.
of no, and I mean it's so interesting when you look at life and how we generations come and go.
Yeah.
You know, when the original builders of those mandolins had no idea what they would eventually sound like amplified. You know.
Well, Ken, I want to ask a little bit about you and your history now. We can tell, of course, by a little bit of the Irish brogue.
Yeah.
Where were you from in Ireland?
I was born in Dublin.
In Dublin.
Yeah, born and raised in Dublin.
And did you learn music as a youth there, of course?
My grandfather was a band leader in the west of Ireland, and my father played piano. My 2 aunts played violins, and then there was 3 or 4 other musicians, like a drummer, and my uncle Kevin, he died young at the age of 21 of tuberculosis. He was the reeds player. He played clarinet and saxophone, and they played all over the west of Ireland for dances and
So it was truly in the family.
Oh yeah. And my mother also played the violin on her side of the family. How much I don't know, but she was a lovely singer. And my grandfather was a big influence on me as a child. I mean, he was already well up in his late 70s. He'd long since, I never saw him play.
But you heard the family
stories.
tales.
Oh
and
yeah.
whatnot.
But even when he was bedridden towards the end of his life, I would spend so much time with him and just talk about music. And man, I mean, I'd be maybe like 9, 10 years of age, and he was already almost 80. So you talk about a 70-year gap. At the same time, I did pick up things from him.
So how old were you when you started playing the guitar yourself?
About 6 or 7.
Really young.
Yeah. My father bought me a kind of a ukulele, really cheap thing. I mean, I was probably 5 or 6, and he taught me how to play the theme to the Third Man.
Oh, that's an Orson Welles old movie and radio serial as well.
But really how I learned music to begin with was my oldest sister, my biggest influence probably. She bought me one of those toy xylophones, you know.
I had one too.
Yeah, and each note, each little metal note had a letter, A, B, C,
That's
D,
right.
E, F.
That's right.
So
they
she
were
wrote down.
color-coded and stamped with the letter.
And the very first song I learned was "Wooden Heart" by Elvis Presley. She was a big Elvis Presley fan, and it was like A, B, C, C, E, D, C, E,
So you're
D,
kind of learning your
D,
scales
F.
by doing
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And I got it. I figured it out. I know how this works, you know. And that's where it all started.
Now, going forward, were you a member of various groups growing up and playing?
Well, you'll get a laugh out of this because the only formal training musically I had when I was young was I was educated by the Christian Brothers in Dublin, all boys school. You know, at one point there was 5 O'Malley brothers in the same school, because it was all primary school up to secondary school, which in here would mean it was from the age of 8 till you were 17 or 18 graduating high school. So we all went to the same school for 10 years.
And I want to ask, was it always the Irish music that you were playing? Did you ever play in like a rock and roll band as well?
Yeah, but what happened was all these Christian Brothers schools had accordion bands.
Oh,
Piano accordion, piano accordion bands.
Yeah.
So I was in a band that had 19 accordions and 1 drummer. Okay,
Right.
but I learned, and I wasn't very quick on the pickup, but because my ear controlled me. You know, if I learned something, I learned it by ear.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do read music inadequately. You know,
Yeah.
don't stick something in front of me and expect me to read it and play it right there. I'd have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But as I got older, then I was, 12, 13, 14, I started playing in the folk clubs in Dublin, playing out, actually. And Irish traditional music was starting to resurge again, and Irish ballad singing. You had the Clancy brothers, who made it famous in New York. They brought it back to Ireland.
Right.
And groups like the original Dubliners, the Wolf Tones, and Sweeney's
So
Men.
the market that was set for you to follow is sort of in their footsteps.
Yeah, I was about 10 years old when this resurgence occurred in Dublin and in Ireland, the whole of Ireland. And, I mean, I remember hearing the Clancy brothers on the radio, and the first Irish ballads I ever heard. And when other guys were listening to Bob Dylan, I didn't get it, And I really was influenced then by the Beatles at this point.
Yeah.
And
But did you do like Dylan? Did you ever get into electric
No.
guitar?
yes, I mean, by the time I was in high school, we had a rock band.
Okay.
That covered everything from Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Cream, who else?
So a lot of classic rock was
Classic
part of
rock,
your background
yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you've gone back to roots, essentially, and what you enjoy to do.
Well, I have a band right now called the Twilight Lords, which is basically a classic rock band that plays Irish music.
How does that work? You combine the
We've been
genres?
together since on and off since 2000, and it was what I thought we were going to be famous, But the problem was that the other members of the band were all off playing with very high-end acts. For instance, Billy Watts, who was our guitar player today, lives in Santa Monica. He's out there with Eric Burden these days. He's been playing with the Animals now for several years. And David Raven is still with me on drums. He's just back from touring with, I can't think of her name. Shelby Lynn. Just recently did a European tour with her. And, they were always too busy doing other projects. But we had a kind of a West Coast sound that was very unique, that we played Irish ballads with an electric sound. Very West Coast, very Birds-like, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very unique. But, again, we didn't put the eggs into the basket like we should have.
Now, is your performing now part of a group or an ensemble, or is it just solo?
I have a new band. I still have the Twilight Lords, but we don't play that often. I have a new band right now called the Ne'er-Do-Wells. And that really is something that's very, very different. It's very traditional Irish music meets Peter Gabriel.
Little progressive rock.
Yeah.
Combine.
And the combination of instruments is myself on guitar and mandolin, lead vocals. On my left would be Pat Darcy from Dublin. Everybody lives here who plays Irish uilleann pipes. The Scottish bagpipes are played up over the shoulder, but the Irish pipes are played across the knees.
Yeah.
And he plays pipes, penny whistles, and the bowron, the Irish drum.
These would be some of the instruments people may have seen the River Dance production.
Exactly.
And you see the performers.
And then we have Brian Dobbs on Stratocaster with a lot of very cool sounds, as well as,
So modern
melody
meets
playing.
old.
And we have a Grammy-winning African-American percussionist, Forrest Robinson. So
Great, great.
he's toured around. Everybody's been touring. And this came together just a few years ago, and we have an album out now since June that is getting tremendous response.
Is there, we'll get to that towards the end, but there's a website people could find your music online and...
KenO'Malley.com, no apostrophe, KENOMALLEY.
So there's a website there with a link
yeah.
to the music and so
And
forth.
there's a link there to the Ne'er-Do-Wells,
Great. Okay. Well,
the
Ken, I want to
Twilight
get you
Hours.
playing some of this
Okay.
stuff. I think we'll take a break for just a second, get set up, and we'll come back with some songs.
Okay. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, we're back with our guest, Ken O'Malley. And Ken, what are we going to do now? What are you going to play for us?
I'm going to do a very, very popular Scottish song called Black is the Colour.
Great.
Black is the colour of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. The sweetest smile, the gentlest tender. I love the ground whereon she stands. I love my love, and well she knows. I love the ground whereon she goes. I wish the day it soon would come when she and I could be as one. Black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. She's got the sweetest smile, the gentlest tender. I love the ground whereon she stands. And I'll go to the Clyde, I'll mourn and weep, for satisfied I never can be. I'll write her a letter, just a few short lines, and I'll suffer death 1,000 times. Black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like some roses fair. The sweetest smile, the gentlest tender. I love the ground whereon she stands. I love the ground whereon she stands. I love the ground whereon she stands.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a
Great
nice song.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take a quick break and
Okay.
we'll do another one.
Great.
All right, stick with us. All right, Ken, let's see what else you have for us. Let's try another one now.
Okay, a song from the west of Ireland called It's a Long, Long Way from Clare to Here. That's County Clare.
Great.
This for the cherub room, we work hard for the correct. And getting up late on Sundays, I never get to mass. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Oh, it's a long, long way, gets further day by day. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. But Friday night it comes around, Jimmy's only into fighting. My ma would like a letter home, but I'm too tired for writing. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Oh, it's a long, long way, gets further day by day. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. It almost breaks my heart when I think of Josephine. I promised I'd be coming back with pockets full of dreams. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Oh, it's a long, long way, gets further day by day. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And the only time I feel alright is when I'm into drinking. You know it eases off the pain of it, levels out my thinking. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Oh, it's a long, long way, gets further day by day. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And I dream I hear a piper playing, maybe it's an ocean. Well, I dream I see white horses dancing on that other ocean. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. Oh, it's a long, long way, gets further day by day. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. Yes, it's a long, long way from Clare to here.
Ah, great.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Well, Ken, I'm so appreciative you came in and gave us a good overview of your history and your music and everything. Thanks again, and why don't you take us out on something?
All right.
Whatever
Let's
you
do
care for.
a song called Fisherman's Blues. Hit away there, Jim. Well, I wish I was a fisherman, tumbling on the seas, far away from the dry land and its bitter memories, casting out my sweet lines to abandonment and love. No ceiling bearing down on me except the starry skies above, with light in my head and you in my arms. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And I wish I was